All right, we have one more speaker before the intermission, correct? Yes? I know. Everyone's excited for Jessie, but also probably for more beer and wine coming to the intermission. But so yes, we have Jessie Fisher. Jessie Fisher is the Executive Director of Preservation Buffalo Niagara. As urban planner with an urban planner with a master's degree from the University of Washington in Seattle, Jessie brings a wide background to her relatively new appointment. Working as an historic preservation and neighborhood planning consultant, owning and developing at-risk and abandoned buildings, and serving as the Director of Planning at Buffalo Niagara Riverkeeper have combined to give her a unique sense of how promoting our region's heritage can unlock a brighter, more equitable, more sustainable future. Jessie Fisher.
Is this just on? Okay. Never done anything in 6 minutes in my life, so. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine recently, and he said he was in a bar, and a municipal planner type came up to him and said, you know, preservationists don't do shit. Developers save buildings. And this struck me, and I was thinking about this recently. Are these just going to change? Okay, good. And this is the, that is true when you read about a project. Often what you'll read about is the developer who developed that final end project. Building was saved and a developer did a project. And this is Congressman Higgins' district. These are the tax credit projects. If we actually add up everything that's coming down the line in Western New York, $500 billion in historic tax credit projects. $500 million, $500 million, sorry. But if you go down the list of actual projects, virtually all of those were buildings that were slated for demolition at one time or another. And it was the preservationists who got involved early who made those opportunities possible. So you just missed the Squire House, which was an example of my husband and I attempting to go out for a brunch date one morning and ending up with him standing in front of a bulldozer and me like desperately calling engineers and lawyers on the phone, which if you know our relationship was pretty much every Sunday morning. This is another building. This was a building that had a huge massive fire. This is a building that's very close to my heart. Some of you know, again, slated for demolition. The city was going to spend $1.5 million to tear this building down. It didn't start out as an idea for Babeville. Ani DeFranco had nothing to do with the preservation of this building. It was, why on earth are we tearing down this building? Some rock star might come along in 10 years and want to use this building as a performance space. This was a building, again, another attempt to go out to brunch that ended here, and now Housing Opportunities Made Equal is in this building, and Nick Sinatra is developing a bunch of buildings around the corner. Ferguson Electric, stunning building. Our city planners, in all their wisdom, decided this building and about 12 to 15 other ones desperately needed to come down to build a new convention center. And that was about 2 years of my life trying to convince them that no, maybe those buildings had some economic value. Halling Press building, everyone's reading about the developer now who's using tax credits, who's turned this building into housing. Well, guess what? That was in the way of this new convention center. It was decided no one's gonna live downtown. Who's gonna live there? We need to take these buildings down. We need to develop a convention center. Bing, bang, boom. 15 years later, there's a developer who saved this building, except guess what? It was coming down. This one, oh my gosh, there's a lot of branches I did not get to. There was the whole Granite Works block. There was a fire in this building, and the owner at the time said it has to come down. We'll tell you that story some other day. This was another one. This building, some of you who drive down Main Street a lot, the scaffolding on this building was, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Again, a lot of pressure to simply take that building down. And there was a lot of obstructionists, a lot of wacky preservationists who said, no, we need to do something. This building, where my office is now, slated for demolition. No one was using it. Who's going to use an old building on Main Street? Come on, people. We should put a parking lot there because, you can't drive on Main Street. So maybe you'd want to, park there. I don't know. Across the street is Shays. That picture will come up in a minute. People, preservationists were literally camped out in that building. It was slated for demolition. It was coming down. But now we'll all go get to see Chicago in there, or Wicked, or something. And again, that building, there was no way anything could possibly happen with that building, except, oh wait, they did. I think we think of preservation in Buffalo, we think now, we're preservationists, right? We would never make this mistake again. We would never tear down a building of this architectural magnitude, right? That was 50 years ago. We don't do that anymore. Oh, now I've talked too fast. See, it's hard. This is a building at Main and Utica. This is where that lovely subway station at Main and Utica is now. It's a really good thing they tore that building down in 1965, right? Because that would not be good for my neighborhood if that building were still there. Again, the Marquine Hotel, which I found out was actually supposed to be the Marquis Hotel, but there was a typo, and it was just too expensive to retype everything. Oh, so yes, we don't tear buildings down anymore. We would never tear down the first apartment building built in Buffalo by Buffalo's iconic architecture firm. We would not do that. We would never make that mistake again, right? This is another very sweet little church on Spruce Street. We lost this building this year. Support your preservationists. Even if what you care about is development, if what you care about is new projects in Buffalo, support your preservationists, because we are losing these buildings, and this is not 40 years ago, this is not 50 years ago, it's not 60 years ago, this is today. And these are the buildings that I was in housing court for this morning. And you're gonna read an article in the Buffalo News that says a developer is coming in and a developer is gonna do something there, and that's awesome. But guess what? The preservationists have been working on saving these buildings for 9 months. And now there's a developer who can come in and who can do something, but only because the obstructionists, the lawyers, the engineers, the architects got together and said, we need to save that building. And again, there's more at-risk buildings. There are 11 churches of this magnitude in the city of Buffalo right now that are in danger, that could go into housing court any minute. And guess what? There's no use for them tomorrow. But you know what? There might be another rock star 15 years from now who wants to buy another church.